Hi guys, this is Jade Lilly of Jade Lilly Crochet. This video is a tutorial for the crochet along that has been organised by Off to Hook Creations. The pattern used in the video is the Back to School Lilly doll, which is by Lilly Sugar and Cream and can be found on the yarnspirations.com website, which is in the link for which is in the description box below this video. So in this video I'll be showing you how to make the head and the hair for the doll, and I will be making other videos that will be released throughout the next few weeks so that we can crochet along together. So to make the head and hair, you will need to have some yarn. This is the yarn that I'm going to use as the main colour, mainly because it shows up nice on camera. And then you will need some yarn for the hair. I have chosen this colour. And then you will need something for the eyelashes and the mouth. I've picked these because it's just something that I have lying around the house. You can choose a lighter weight yarn if you like, or some embroidery thread. You'll need some stuffing for the head. You will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. And then you'll need something to make the eyes of your doll. I use these, which are safety eyes, and they attach quite nicely like this. You can buy these from most craft stores or Amazon or eBay or Etsy or anywhere like that. But if you don't have these, or you just don't want to use these, you can use buttons, or you can use beads, or you can even just crochet yourself some eyes. So let's begin. The very first thing that the pattern tells us to do is with the main colour. MC is the abbreviation for main colour, chain 2. So I'm actually going to show you two different methods of starting off your project. This method that the pattern tells us to use with the chain 2, and a different method which I prefer to use, I just like the finish of it better, called the magic circle. So I thought I would show you guys both of those methods, and you can choose which one you prefer. So the one that the pattern tells us to do, you just go ahead and chain 2. If you do not know how to make a slip knot, or do the chain stitch, or do a single crochet, or do the increase and decrease stitches, I will not be going into great detail during this video, so please do click on my channel and have a look at my basic tutorials for those lessons, and you can brush up on your skills and then come back and join the crochet along with us. So we chain 2, and then the pattern tells us to 8 SC in second CH from hook. So basically all that is telling us to do is to do 8 single crochet stitches in this second chain from the hook, which is the first chain that we made. So if you could just go ahead and do 8 single crochet into that one chain. So once you have the 8 stitches, it tells us to join with an SLST to first SC. So SLST stands for slip stitch, and it means that we just insert our hook into the first single crochet that we made and do a slip stitch. So we just yarn over and pull that right through, and then you can take the tail and pull that tight to close up the gap, and that is the first round of your project complete. So the second method is the magic circle method, and what you do is you take the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your fingers twice like this, and then take your hook underneath those 2 strands that you've wrapped around your fingers, pull your yarn through and under those 2 strands and do a slip stitch like so, and then work your 8 single crochet stitches into this center ring. So once you have your 8 single crochet stitches, take the back strand here and just pull on that so that the hole closes up, and then take the tail of your yarn, this bit here, and just pull that as well, and you end up with a nice tight circle, and then place your hook into the first stitch and form a slip stitch. So you end up with a little circle like this, and you can leave your tail hanging at the back, because when you make your head you can just leave the tail inside the head and you won't be able to see it. So the second round tells us to chain 1. So we just simply chain 1 and then do 2 SC in each SC around. So what we are doing is placing 2 single crochets in each single crochet around. So when you place 2 single crochets in a stitch, it is known as an increase stitch. So you are placing an increase in every stitch that we have around this circle, and by the end of it you should have 16 stitches in total. So just go ahead and place an increase stitch in every stitch and count until you have 16 stitches. So once you have your 16 stitches, you will see that the next instruction is to join with SLST, which we know now is a slip stitch, to the first single crochet. So you're going to place your hook into the very first stitch that you made, the very first single crochet, and do a slip stitch. So don't worry if your stitches are quite tight at this point. When you do your first couple of rounds, they do tend to be a little tighter, and then once you get going, it becomes more defined and easier to get your hook through there. So don't be afraid to manipulate the arm with your fingers if you need to, and don't be afraid to just give it a little bit of a push to get through there. So we do our slip stitch, and it should look like this when you are finished. We have 16 stitches in the round there, and then the third round it tells us to again chain 1 and do 2 SC in next single crochet, which is our increase, and then 1 SC in the next single crochet, which is just a single crochet in the next stitch. So essentially what we are doing is an increase and then just 1, and an increase and then just 1, and following that exact same pattern right the way around until you have 24 stitches. So if you just go ahead and do that and meet up with me back at this point. So once you've got to the end of that round, you're again going into the very first stitch and forming a slip stitch to make a complete circle, and you have 24 stitches in total going around there. And then for the next round, what you want to do is chain 1 and make 2 single crochets in that very first stitch from the chain 1, and then in the next 2 stitches you are going to place 1 single crochet in each of those, and then follow that same pattern. So the next one is an increase, then 1, then 1, then an increase, then 1, then 1, until you have 32 stitches in your round. And then for the next round, what you want to do is chain 1, do your increase in the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and follow that same pattern right the way around until you have 40 stitches when you reach the chain at the other side. So the increase, and then 1, 1, and 1, and follow that same pattern right the way around. So once you have finished that round and you have 40 stitches, join with a slip stitch just like you have done with your previous rounds, and then the next round tells us to do a single crochet in each single crochet stitch. So you are just literally going around placing 1 single crochet in each of these stitches until you have 40 round at the other side. So chain 1 and then continue to do 1 single crochet right the way around. And once you have finished that round, again join in the first single crochet with a slip stitch, and it should look like this. The pattern then asks you to do 1 single crochet in each single crochet for the next 10 rounds. So you are going round 10 times, making 1 stitch in each of these stitches. So if you could just go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back here on round 16. If you have gone around 10 times, your head will look something like this. And then the next round, we are going to start decreasing and closing this up to make it into the shape of a head. So it is entirely up to you whether you want to wait until you have finished the head completely before you add the features, or you can add them now. Because I am using safety eyes, they are attached in the back, it is always a good idea to attach those before you close the head, otherwise you're not going to be able to get inside. So I am going to add my features now, so I will show you this If you're waiting, then just wait, just fast forward and close up the head and jump back to this part so you can add the features yourself. So I have put my eyes in, so it'll be this way. I chose this colour because I thought it would look nice with the red hair. So I have placed my eyes on the 11th round, and there are 5 stitches in between them. And then I'm going to do my mouth somewhere here. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my eyelashes. So I have threaded some of my black yarn onto my darning needle. So what I tend to do, it's going to be this way. So my eyelashes are going to come out this side and they're going to come out this side. So the first thing that I would do is probably take the eye out, and you can see the hole is pretty defined where the eye is going to be. And I would make my eyelashes from that point. So just stitch them in. And then once you are finished, place your eye back into the hole like so. Maybe you can see that. And then you can just snip the black yarn at the back and make a little knot to secure it in there, because it's going to be inside the head. You aren't going to be able to see it. And then you just want to make the next eye the same so that they match. So once you have your eyelashes sewn on, you can go ahead and secure your safety eyes in the back like so. If you were using beads, you can stitch them on and it should look like this. So I'm going to add a couple of more rounds before I add my mouth, so I have room. So the very next instruction on the pattern is telling us to do a decrease stitch. So when it says draw up a loop in each of the next single crochets, yarn over hook and draw 3 loops on hook, it is telling us to single crochet 2 together. So the first thing that we need to do is chain 1, and then in the next 2 stitches form a decrease stitch. So go into the first loop of the first stitch, yarn over, pull through, into the first loop of the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through all of these. Again, there is a tutorial for this, so if you don't know how to do that, then go and have a look at the tutorial for a more detailed instruction. And then we are going to do 1 single crochet into the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then do another decrease, and then into the next 3 do 1, and continue in that same pattern until you get right round to the other side where your first chain 1 is. Once you've reached the other side, just like with all of the previous rounds, go into the first stitch that you made and form a slip stitch. Going straight onto the next round, chain 1, do a decrease, and then 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and continue with that pattern right the way around until you get to the other side. So once we have finished that round, it should look something like this. So go ahead into the first stitch and make a slip stitch as usual, and we now have 24 stitches going round, and it is at this stage that I'm going to stitch on the mouth and stuff the head. So thread your mouth yarn through the darning needle, and then just hand stitch the mouth into the position that you want it to be. So I have stitched my mouth on there, and then I am literally just going to chop the yarn and knot it at the back and hide it on the inside of my head. So once I have attached my yarn at the back and knotted it in there, I'm going to take the stuffing and stuff the head of the doll. So once you have stuffed the head, it should look something like this, and then we are going to carry on stitching the next row. So for the next row we need to chain 1, then do a decrease stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the next, and repeat that round until you have 16 stitches in total. So once you have finished that round, it should look something like this, and you will probably notice that my doll does look slightly different to the Lilly doll on the pattern. The reason for this is I used a smaller hook because my yarn was smaller than the recommended yarn, so my doll is slightly smaller than the Lilly doll on the pattern, and also I've used a bigger size eyes, which was just for my own personal preference. So don't worry if your doll is not looking exactly like the Lilly doll on the pattern. If you do want to have the that look for your doll, then make sure that you use the same size eyes and the same shape mouth and the same hook and the same weight yarn. So once we've got to this stage, you can stuff the head of your doll more if you need it to be tighter. I need to put some more stuffing in mine, and then you are going to do 8 decrease stitches right around the doll, which is going to be the last round, and then after that round you will be fastening off and just leaving a tail of yarn so that you can join the head to your body when that time comes. Once you have finished that, we are going to do the hair. So I have looked at the pattern and seen how the how you are told to do the hair on the pattern. I am going to show you a different method, purely because the pattern calls for a sewing machine to be used for a certain part of it, and I know that not everybody has a sewing machine, so I am going to show you a different method to do the hair where you don't need to have anything other than the materials that I outlined at the very beginning of the video. So the first thing that I want you to do for the hair is make a wig cap that looks like this, and this is going to sit on your doll's head like so, and we're going to do the hair onto the wig cap. So I made the wig cap in the exact same way that I made the head, with the exception of when you reach round 6 of the head and it tells you after that to do 10 rounds, I only did 8 rounds. So there is, I think, 14 rounds altogether in the wig cap. So if you could go ahead and make the wig cap with your hair colour using the pattern from the head, but just do 8 extra rounds instead of 10, and I will meet you back here when you have done that. Once you have finished your head and your wig cap, you are going to hand stitch your wig cap to your head, and you are just going to do that with your darning needle, and you're going to go in to each stitch like so, and go right the way around the head until that is secure. So once you've sewed your wig cap on, it should look something like this. Sorry, I have done this very quickly and very loosely. I have not gone through all of my stitches because the sun is literally dropping as we speak, so I want to get this video finished before I lose any natural sunlight. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to add the strands of hair to your doll. So the first thing that you want to do is take your hair colour yarn and decide what length of hair you are going to have, and then you want to double it. Say I want to have the hair that is that long, and then I would double it and I would chop here, and I would use that strand of hair as a marker for the rest of the strands of hair that I'm going to cut. And then to add the strands of hair to your doll, what you need to do is double the strand like this. Pick the stitch that you want your strand of hair to go into. Like so. Place the yarn on your hook, pull through, and then with your fingers just pull the yarn through like so and secure it and the strands of hair will sit. So if you're wanting your hair up, they will just go up like so. And you can just go ahead and add hair to the outside and then do your parting. And then because you have the wig cap in the same colour, you don't have to put a strand of hair into each individual stitch. Another good point to make is that depending on which side you insert your hook will depend on which side you see the knot. So if you insert your hook in this direction, the knot will be visible on this side, but if you, which is what I did before, but if you insert your hook from this direction and do the process again, the knot is visible on the inside. So if you're going to have your hair up, for example, you're probably best inserting your hook from this angle. I hope that makes sense. So once you have finished adding the hair to your doll, it should look like this. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you can get video updates for the rest of the crochet along, as well as my other video tutorials. If you would like to follow me on Facebook, then please find the link for my page in the description box below. The link for the original pattern of the Lilly doll, it's really difficult to say, Lilly doll, is also in the description box below. And I will see you next week for the rest of the crochet along. Thanks guys, have a great day, bye.